Now we're seeing sixes total, 142. What are you going to do with the Wildcats and the Cornhuskers?
Well, Teddy, you know that I love to look for situational spots, and this is a great one in my opinion. You look at Northwestern, as you said, 2 games ago, they went to Purdue, and they gave Purdue all they could handle, taking them to overtime in that game before they finally lost 105-96. Then 3 days later, they had to travel for a second game on the road. They went to Minnesota, and they lost 75-66. Northwestern came up, in my opinion, flat in that game. It was such a big effort the game before against highly ranked Purdue, who's number 2 in the country. Now Northwestern's had 4 days to regroup. They're back at home and enter Nebraska. And what I'm going to point out with Nebraska sounds awful familiar. What did they do in their last game? Well, first 2 games back, they beat Wisconsin at home. At the time, Wisconsin was ranked number 6th in the country. Then they go on the road, play another top team, number 10, Illinois. They go to overtime, lose 87-84 in overtime as a 10-point underdog. Sound familiar? Yeah. Big game, overtime, big underdog, come up short. I think they're ripe for a flat spot, playing a second game in a row on the road, going to play a Northwestern team that plays well on their home floor. They're 11-1 straight up this season at home. And if you look at Nebraska, the last 2 seasons, when they've played a conference road game, they're just 3-14 against the spread. I love the spot. I love Nebraska coming in here. And this is one of those second meeting games. And I don't take the revenging team every single time, Teddy. It's most overused angle in sports. But I do want to look at what happened in that game and if there was anything out of the ordinary. Well, Nebraska shot 55% from the field in that game and an insane 53% from three-point range in the 9-point win. I think the tables get turned tonight. I'm going to take Northwestern.
So I got to disagree, and I don't often disagree, Marco. I like to, poke. But Northwestern wasn't flat in their last game. They came out, they had a double-digit lead with 3 minutes left and blew it, which is kind of what happened at Purdue as well. What we've seen from this Wildcats team is an inability to create offense during crunch time when the opposing team steps up defensively. And in my mind, that's a factor that I would be concerned about if I was laying points to them as a favorite. Nebraska, pretty tough defensively. And Northwestern, even with Boo Booey's leadership, they've had a lot of problems getting the biscuit in the basket during crunch time of these tight games. Does that worry you at all in this point spread range?
Obviously, what they did down the stretch in the last game, that was a concern, and they didn't shoot well in that game at all, Teddy, 38% from the field. But if you do look at the 3 games prior to that for Northwestern, they shot 55, 57, and 57% again. So I think that, this was a team that figured some stuff out. That last game just, is what it is. Again, when I say flat, it's just one of those things that playing back-to-back games the way they did, big games, it was just too much, to ask for them. I think they bounce back at home, and they've had a few days. It's not that quick turnaround that you get sometimes from a Saturday to a Monday game with some teams. Here we are looking at them playing on Wednesday night. They've had a couple extra days in between to hit the reset button.